So here we have it, the man of the hour. He's been in showbiz close to 4 decades. And he has an upcoming film coming out on November 10th, and it's going to be played in 60 different countries. Please welcome actor, director, producer, writer, you name it. He's done it. Michael Saquella in the house, baby. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for a great intro. I'm so happy to be here. You're incredible.
Thank you for being on my show. You know what, Michael? You grew up in Rochester, right? Is that where you grew up?
Upstate New York. Yes, I did.
And it was what age did you realize? You know what? I love acting. This is what I want to do.
Early teens. And I can't give you the exact. I know there is a specific. I was 15 and a half when I really wanted to do it. But when I first started, I was probably just turning 15.
Did you watch a play? Was it a movie? What happened?
Well, I used to be a ball player. Baseball was my favorite sport. I ended up going to Arizona State to play ball. I was a catcher. I played for the great James Brock. I played with some great Bob Horner, the big boy Bob, third baseman, used to hit big home runs. I was a kid and I played a lot of ball. And I was riding my unicycle home from practice one night by the auditorium where the theater was. And there was a theater coach out there with a couple of the actresses or whatever they were. And they, come here, come here. So I ride over, excuse me, and we need some guys in our play. Plays are for pussies. I said, I'm not doing a play. Are you kidding me? I don't want to do that crap. I'm a ball player. No, come on. And this one cute girl, Ann, I'm not going to say her last name, but she grabbed me and I go, all right. She brought me in there and I saw the girl stretching and bending over. They had the leotards. I go, okay, I'm sold. Where do I sign up? You got to read. So I got the play bill or show bill, whatever they call it. I'm reading and I felt like I was in the first grade. I was nervous. I couldn't read. I couldn't see. The bright lights were on me. I read terribly. 3 days later, a couple of the girls grabbed me. Come on, you got to see your name. So I went to the auditorium. There was my name right on the auditorium door for the theater. I got the lead role in the high school play, and I can't sing, and I can't dance, and I can't act. I can play ball, though. They probably wanted people in the seats is why they wanted me. But, that kind. The thing was, we rehearsed for 3 or 4 months, had to learn how to sing, and it was fun. I enjoyed going to baseball practice, then going to theater practice. And then when the curtains opened up, I froze. To me, it felt like minutes. Everybody said it wasn't that long, but to me, it was a big pregnant pause. And then we did the show. And then at the end of it, I had a standing ovation. And then I knew the grease paint finally got in my veins and I was hooked. Back then it was theater. It wasn't movies, but I was involved in entertainment. So now I'm confused. Do I play ball or do I become an actor? That was the first part. But there was a second part. We'll get to it later, I guess, or whenever you ask me another question.
Well, no, that's fine. But you grew up in Rochester, right? What happened?
Yeah.
Your family moved to Arizona State?
I came out to school. My mom and dad, my grandparents used to go to Tucson for winter vacation. They were called snowbirds, winter visitors. So my mom and dad came out, bought a house. I came out, went to school, and it started there. And I met some theater people, and one thing led to another, and I ended up doing some stunt fights in a Wild West town. It was a Western movie coming to town, and I got a part in that film. And everybody said, hey, you got to move to Hollywood. You got to come to LA. And by then I got big time. Want to be in movies. That was it. I loved it. And so I moved to Hollywood, and I was there for 20 years before I came back to Arizona.
Well, you don't have to live in Hollywood anymore as an actor nowadays. You can live anywhere. But so you got a baseball scholarship to Arizona State? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Listen, that's a good school. I mean, yeah, Barry Bonds went there. Yeah, Reggie Jackson went there. I mean, these are legends there.
Yeah, I went there for, I had a partial scholarship. I made it. I played, got hurt, decided to change and become an actor. But yeah, I got to play. And it was really great for a long time. But after a while, after so many games, you do get tired. I don't know how they keep doing it all these years. Some, like shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles. Remember him? Hercules, whatever he was, the Iron Man.
Yeah,
great. Cal Ripken. He played all those games. I can't even get out of bed right now. It's like, how the hell did he do it?
Well, it's crazy. I played college baseball, too, on a scholarship down at Palm Beach Atlantic University in Florida.
Oh, Florida's great.
Yeah, but, when you got ball players from Florida, Arizona, Texas, Cali, I mean, those guys could deliver. I mean, we got an advantage. It's all year round.
All year round, we played ball.
Did your friends make fun of you when you started doing theater plays?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't believe the names they called me.
You can't
Told
get
me
away
first,
with it right now, right?
they said that I was a puss and all these other things. And, I don't want to say that what they call me because now it's offensive. But,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
basically, I went to the other side of the fence. I was a switch hitter. But no, I wasn't. I really was a switch hitter, but not in the real life, only in ballparks. Oh,
So,
yeah.
Michael, what movies inspired you when you got really serious into acting? What did what kind of films were you were like, oh man, that really impressed me, man. I really want to do this.
Well, I was really young and I got to go to the drive-in to see The Godfather. Like 70, I was like 13. I really liked it, but I didn't understand it. Then I saw a movie with Jeff Bridges, and I don't know, they were robbing banks with a cannon or something. I can't remember it, but I was really little and I liked it. And I liked how tough Charles Bronson was, and he was tough, and he was cool. And I go back and look at those movies now, and it's like, oof, geez. But how did I fall in love with those pictures? But I really wasn't into it until I met Burt Reynolds when I was a kid, and then his movies inspired me to be more of a comic actor. But I wasn't into westerns. I was into the Beach Boys and moving to California my whole young life. Wow. So as far The Godfather, when the girl took the dress off, I kind of got, ooh, boy, this is like, I got to get out of the car before my parents catch me with a Woody, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, look at that. I want to be in show business. I want to kiss that girl, And I liked Brigitte Bardot films, the French actress. That was like, she was incredible. Yeah. And I wanted to I even went there when I was 14 or 15. My cousin and I went to Belgium and we went over to France, and she was on billboards and magazines everywhere I went. I was so in love with her. But anyways, hope that
no, I love it. I love it. So did you lived in Hollywood for 20 years?
Yeah, 22.
22 years.
I don't know. If I first started in Studio City and then I ended up in the Hollywood Hills and Lookout Mountain off of Portal Drive, it doesn't matter. I still got a place to go to when I come out there, but it's like Rob Schneider just moved here to Arizona full time.
Michael, here's my question. How many auditions did you average a week in your time when you were in Hollywood?
Well, I had a commercial agent and a theatrical agent. So I did commercial runs and I did acting, but I can remember going to 3 or 4 in one day sometimes.
And what decade was that? In the 80s, 90s?
80s, early 80s.
Wow.
And I remember going out, I think the record was like 15 in 1 week. Sometimes you don't have any at all. You just sit and wait for the phone to ring. You'll call your agent. Well, come on, I'm not working. Give me a job. Send me. I just want to audition. And sometimes you don't. And sometimes it's feast or famine for auditions. And then you don't book anything. In the beginning, nobody likes you. They don't know you. You're not a name.
Right.
And one day I hit it on commercials. It started. I signed with a new agent, Click, Flick, they were called. And boom, I booked the U.S. Navy commercials. I booked a HBO commercial. I booked a Chili Smell-O-Vision, which if you go to my YouTube page, it's a dog scratching the TV. I'm the lead of that commercial. I mean, I started doing big national commercials. So my commercials were running during the Super Bowl and during the Academy Awards. I remember going to City National Bank, the one that right before you get to Beverly Hills on Sunset, and there's a Y and there's the bank. I remember going in there after the Academy Awards. Like, I saw you on the Academy Awards. You were great. I was never on the Academy Awards. It was a freaking commercial. Ran twice. It was great. Wow. Commercials helped a lot, and then you start booking, then people start hiring you.
But what's crazy? Back then, there wasn't a cable. I mean, it was like SAG national commercials on major networks. So you would be banking, right?
$100,000, $125,000 a commercial, you'd make over a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, Michael, has there ever been that you auditioned that you came so close to testing and it was a big name and they had you and all of a sudden something happened?
Yeah, there is. I don't know how you heard about this one, but I'm going to tell you.
That's because I do mega research, my man. You're dealing with Eddie Motta, baby. Go ahead.
Yeah. So here, I'm going to tell you this, and hopefully we got enough time. It's going to take about 3 hours.
I got all night if you want. Go ahead. I'm like Howard Stern, baby. Talk to me.
Okay, cool. So I directed some music videos in the 80s. I worked on some great shows. Well, I'm directing a video for Pookie Hudson. He wrote Good Night, Sweetheart. Remember the song that was in 3 Men and a Baby? Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Anyways, so we're doing a shoot in Maryville, Indiana. You fly in Chicago and you drive about 30, 40 miles. And we were doing this commercial when an old Cadillac goes in the car wash, comes out brand new, and he's singing Good Night because he wanted to make the song famous since he wrote it. Well, before then, I had auditioned, 7 auditions for a big commercial campaign. And it was big. It was like a 3-year deal. It would have made $1 million. My agent would have made $100,000. It was going great. And I had callback after callback after callback. Well, I told him I'm leaving, so I was gone for a week. Well, the casting people and the director of the commercial called my agency for me to go for the finals between me and another guy. And it was really close. It felt like we were going to get it. And so they called, and the guy couldn't say my last name. He couldn't say Saquella. He called Sequoia. Anyways, the agent had a 6'6" Native American actor. And he had the similar name, but it sounded like those big trees in California, Sequoia tree, whatever they were called. So they send a 6'6" guy to my 8th callback. I'm up in Indiana. I don't even know about it. They got so freaking mad at my agent. They screamed to shoot her out. The other guy got the part. I lost it because they couldn't say my name. So when I got back, she says, "We're changing your freaking name." I go, "What do you mean?" She said, "Yeah." So she had another actress. We were having lunch. Eva LaRue. She's on the CSI Miami. Really beautiful looking lady. Well, younger than me. Anyway, so we were all together. And my agent and I went to the mall, female. And we went, her first name was Flo. So we went and we were looking around and she needed to get some perfume for a party or for a relative. And we picked up Paloma Picasso, the bottle of perfume. She goes, "What about Michael Picasso?" I said, "What are you, nuts? He's an artist. No one's going to believe I'm a Picasso. I don't." But she goes, "What about Paloma?" And I go, "Okay." So we changed my name to Michael Paloma to make it easier for me to get big acting jobs in these huge commercials. And I had that name for, it was probably almost 20 years. And the government made me change it back to my real name. You know, got in trouble, but don't worry about it. I'm done. I had a Robert Downey Jr., but my greed wasn't drugs or pills or alcohol. Mine was greed for money. You know, I did money stuff and I got banged. The government got me good, but it's over with. I did my time.
You did your time. It's all right. At least you did your
I
time,
did it.
and you didn't hurt anybody, so you're all good with that.
It was all internet stuff. We were the first guys that did a bunch of internet stuff, and I got caught in the middle of it. And they wanted to do a book called The King of Pump and Dump. I had a big firm from New York fly out to see me, like a Goldman Sachs kind of, you know, they wanted to do $100 million film in my story because they know the Wolf of Wall Street. They know the actual character that went away on that. And, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio did an incredible job, but they said a lot of that was not true. You're true. And I go, no, I had jets, I had planes, I had beautiful women. I went to Vegas. I spent $100,000 and lost $300,000 on the table and called my broker, send me some more money, sell some stock, whatever. And I did all that. I had the big parties. But what it was because I was connected to the mob. So they wanted a mob angle. And they wanted to know how this guy that really wasn't famous could go hang out with the Minnesota Vikings, hang out with Red McComb, the owner, go to the field, hang out with Randy Moss, you know, and then a week later, fly Burt Reynolds, Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Goldberg, the rest, fly everybody to Florida to watch Burt's old alma mater and watch them play, you know, their homecoming game in Tallahassee, Florida.
Florida State, right? That's where Burt Reynolds went to.
I took them all there on my plane, you know, $50,000 in the gas and the pilots. And we went. I was rolling back then. But I got hit hard. It's over with. And they wanted to know how the hell did this guy do it? And it was a loss where I was talking. I'm totally went space.
No. I love it. But Michael, let me ask you this. So you're saying you lived like a A-list star. I mean, people were all over you, right? People wanted to hang out with you. People
yeah.
Who the hell is this guy, right?
I dated a girl who looked just like Angelina Jolie. Everywhere we went, they thought it was Angelina. We signed autographs. It was crazy. Yeah, they did. I built a 7,100 square foot home. You know, the funny thing was, I had a live entertainment company. We did the lookalike shows, the Elvis, Blues Brothers, Frank, Rat Pat, Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe. And I had casinos, bunch of casinos going. I sold the company for a lot of money. And everybody wanted to hang out with me because of that. But I built a huge home. I had 2 cabins, 2 jets. I was rolling. But I had most of that before I ever got into the stock world. We got in trouble. And they took it all away from me, everything.
So,
even stuff as acting or what.
How many years did you do time?
Am I supposed to say that right now?
Yeah, who cares?
I did 8 years.
In
I
federal?
did 8. Yeah, the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I did 8 out of 10. Then I did 3 years of probation, half a year home confinement. All done, been done. I've been free for quite a while, and I'm making a huge comeback.
Well, Michael, let me ask you this: is it true in federal prisons? Do they bother you, or you guys? It's like a campus.
In the camps, I was in 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first one had tennis. We had golf with they weren't real golf balls. We had softball. I was in so many softball because of ball player. I played every night. We played softball. So yeah, it was like country club kind of, but not really because you still put a bunch of guys and there's still the different gangs in there, the Texans and the Aryan Brotherhoods and the whites and the blacks and the Meg. I mean, it was like a lot of politics, but nobody really got beat up unless you were a really bad rat. But I got in trouble when I first went in. Never been handcuffed in my life, and I went into Taft in northern up by Bakersfield. And after I was supposed to get transferred because of valley fever, and I wasn't supposed to stay there because I had adult diabetes. And I talked to the wrong guy, and I got locked up, and they put me in the SHU, which is 7-foot room by 9 feet. Toilets in there. You got a bunkie. You can't move. You can't see any light. I got stuck in there for 4 months because I was a bad boy, I guess. Then they shipped me to the big place. They sent me to Big Spring, Texas, which is a disciplinary spot. You're behind a fence, razor wire, double fence, gangs, people are fighting, getting blood, people dying. I went through 2 riots. I saw guys' heads get split open. It wasn't really nice. It was really awful. But I remember I couldn't wait to get on the yard. I didn't care about the fence. All I know is that I'd been locked up in this little room for so long that I said, as soon as I get out, I'm going to kiss the ground. And when I got my bunk, I went up to the yard and I got on the grass and I kissed it. And 2 big white Aryan Brotherhood guy tattoos everywhere. Hey, who you run with? They said, run, look at me. I'm 270 freaking pounds. I can't run. And then they said to me, no, your affiliation. You know what? Who do you run? What affiliation? I go, yeah, SAG. They go, what? SAG? What's that? I go, SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. They died laughing. They put me under their wing and they protected me the whole time I was there. It was crazy.
Wow, 8 years.
Yeah, I know.
Holy
But you know,
shit.
funny, that my movie Forget About It, that's been on the screen there, came out as an institutional film. 2 of my movies played while I was in. Yeah, that film. And because of that, I was like famous. I was like Brad Pitt inside. It was amazing. Couldn't do anything. Whenever they would cook dinner for me, put me on the softball team, whatever I wanted. I never had to go to commissary. They bought me all kinds of stuff. Everybody wanted to take pictures with me. The warden finally called me in the office and said, listen, you can't take pictures with these guys. You made a mistake. You're a white collar guy. You came in here. You're too nice. Someday they're going to get involved in something and they're going to find a picture with you and them and they're going to call you in for questioning. Stop taking pictures with the inmates. So I stopped taking pictures. It was crazy. But, I did it. I got shipped out to Texas, El Paso. And then after 5 years, my last 3 years, I was a driver and I got to drive people around. I got to get a little bit of freedom my last 3 years at the Lompoc, where they shot Fast and Furious 6, I think, when they rolled the truck. That prison was where I was when they pull out, if you remember, with what's the shaved head guy?
Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
If you see that big chase scene, it was right where I was for 3 years.
Holy shit, I love it.
Can't believe we're talking about this crap.
No, you know what? I want people to get to know Michael Saquella because you know what? You're gonna blow up. This movie, we're gonna talk about it later, and then you got another movie with Antonio Sabato. We're gonna talk about that later. Listen, when you on the set, forget about it. Listen, that's like the hottest girl on earth, Raquel Welch, right? I mean, come on. Did you have a scene with her? Were you in a scene with her?
Are you kidding me? I'm in a lot of scenes with her.
Oh my god!
You don't have the picture with me on the plane with her?
I was trying to find it.
Oh my God, you got it. Anyway, so in this movie, I'm in the witness protection. First of all, I play a gangster, and I also play the Godfather. I play 2 roles and I narrate the whole movie.
Okay.
So I get in trouble. I get pulled over for me and Richard Grieco rob a bank, and I get shot. I stay behind because I don't really want to get it away. I want to go in the program because I stole $4 million. So they send me to Arizona in the witness protection, and I got the $4 million on my body. So I moved into a trailer park. Raquel Welch lives down the street. Charles Durning and Robert Loggia live across the street, and Burt lives right next door to where I moved into. So every time she would come out, they would go crazy. All 3 old men would go nuts over her. So my first scene with her was in the living room scene where they all come to meet me for the first time. And the first thing she says to me, don't stand in my key light. Come on, man, I can't. You're giving me a shadow. Don't you know how to act? So that's how it first started with her. and me.
God.
Yeah, we had scenes. We had some scenes together. We had a big scene on the first class. It was at the old America West Airlines. And at the end of the movie, uh, people have to see it, but at the end of the movie, she thinks she's got the $4 million. Well, there's about 3.6 million left. The boys spent about 400 grand. They bought a boat, a freaking couple of cool cars. So we're in first class, and she slips a Mickey into my champagne, gives me a nice big kiss on the lips. She goes, "I'll get you the drink." She tells the flight attendant, "Don't worry about it." So she goes up into the cabin, whatever they call it. She puts a Mickey in there, a couple of pills in my drink, brings it back. I drink it, I pass out. So when we land in Rio de Janeiro, right? She thinks she's got all the money, but guess what? It was on my body again. She had the fake money, I had the real money. So I got her. It was fun working with Raquel. You kidding me? But I had when I was a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
This is another thing, but one of the first acts I opened up for as a comedian was Raquel Welch. So I got pictures of Raquel and I when I was 15, 16, and we were the same height. Now I'm way taller than her, but back then we were the same. Got a picture. My mom came to the set, so she autographed it to my mom, the old picture and a new picture. It's pretty cool. But I got to work with her again many years later. But she don't remember me from back then because it was back in the 70s.
Now, she's a sweetheart when you met her, when you acted with
Well,
her?
off a set,
Yeah.
going to dinner, hanging out, great storyteller, great person, loves everybody. But on set, she's a big-time diva, man. 4 hours to do makeup. And then her trailer, they wouldn't let her go. She didn't want to go into the makeup show. She had her own trailer. We had to bring in, they brought in special lights, special, table and all that. And then they would move the trailer every 20 or 30 minutes with the sun. So she had the perfect light in her face to tape it, whatever she was doing. But she looked great.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm still a little young, but I heard that, they're like, Eddie, this Raquel Welch, my friend Mike, he loves her. He says, I'll marry her right now. I don't care about her age.
Well, she still looks really good now.
Yeah.
But you know who I really liked on the film? I mean, Burt Reynolds, I'll tell you about him, but the old guys were great. Charles Durning I met earlier in the 80s on a movie called Sticks with Burt. But Phyllis Diller, I got to work with Phyllis Diller. She blows me a kiss and winks at me at the end of the scene. It was the coolest thing, man. I work with icons. Diller, Reynolds, Loggia, Durning. God, Grieco and I had a blast on that film.
So, Michael, when it comes to auditioning, what's your take on auditioning? Like, what would you tell young actors how to, as far as auditioning? I mean, did you go to the conservatory acting school? Did you do any of that stuff?
Yeah, no, what I did was there were acting classes in LA. So I went to like actors workshops.
Oh, okay.
And I did it at ASU, but I went to workshops and they were Estelle Harmon. There were some really famous classes I went to. One of them had Peter Berg,
big time director.
Big director. He was in our class. Huey Lewis came down for some stage presence. He was in a couple of classes. There was a big bodybuilder look-alike guy that played the Hulk in the Universal Studio Tour, but he owns a restaurant in Mississippi now. Who else? Everybody in that class went big time except for me. I don't understand. But Bobby DeCicco and Perry Lang. Bobby DeCicco was in the Philadelphia Experiment. He's the one that went back, and they met each other when he was old, and Michael Pare was still young. He was in 1941, which I was in. Mm-hmm. Perry Lang was in 1941. He did that movie Spring Break.
I love that film. Oh, my God. I was a little boy when I saw that. Oh, my God.
Well, the blonde kid, when they asked him what happened, he goes, I don't know, but I can't find my underwear. I think she ate my underwear. If you remember that, that was Perry Lang. Him and Bobby DeCicco were doing the dance in the beginning of 1941. John Belushi lands the plane. He gets the cigar in his mouth. Everything blows up. The food fight. I got my hand in soup, and I got my union card from that film. Wow. I got to be an Army guy for several, I was able to buy a house with the money I made on that picture. But I lost it all. But
it's all right because you're coming back. But, Michael, what happened with something happened in Hellbound? You're supposed to be the actor. You got hurt or something? They gave the role to a Canadian actor, William Hope.
Yeah, well, I had some pretty powerful friends. Ted Swanson. He produced Rocky 1. He produced Caddyshack. He produced Lucky Lady. I didn't know them then when I met Burt. And he did My Father the Hero, Gerard Depardieu, and that blonde actress that was on Grey's Anatomy. I can't think of her name right now. So Ted got me in with some big-time people. Anyway, so I auditioned a couple of times, and they offered me the role. What really happened was I didn't get hurt, but I don't know why that came up. I was
I saw that
when
on your IMDb. You got
yeah,
hurt, and I was like, jiu-jitsu
it was
match?
the jiu accident. No, I was with Billy Zabka, the Karate Kid. You know, he was a blonde guy where Ralph has to go up and take him out. Well, he's in Cobra Kai
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
Billy and I were really close for a long time. Well, Billy and I were doing a baseball picture called Names of Blues. He was directing and starring in it, and I was in it. Was handicapped, and he dies, and he comes into my body, and I become this great baseball player. Well, we were shooting, and I was with. We had Meredith Salinger was his love interest, and mine was the blonde. She was in Fortress, and she was in Taking Care of Business with John Belushi. I'm Jim Belushi. God, I can't think. Oh, Lauren Lachlan, gorgeous,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So they
yeah.
sit me down and go, look, man, this is an opportunity for all of us. If you leave, you're going to hurt the film. So that's what really happened. I stayed in Albuquerque. We were shooting the movie, and I didn't go to do that picture. Also, had got the lead role in not the lead, but I had the opening scene in Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman when the guy gets bit by the monkey. That was supposed to be me, but because of the baseball picture, I stayed. So I turned down two roles that probably would have sent me instead of where I'm at today.
But there's
You know,
another film, this one right here with they gave it to Michael Chiklis. You were supposed to be in this, right? Is that true? What I read up
but
on you?
yeah,
Tell me a story about that. What happened with that?
Ted Swanson was producing the film,
Mm-hmm.
and I had auditioned a bunch of times for it. They were going to go with the film 2 years before it was made. I remember flying back in, directing a video. I came in. I remember getting so car sick. I had this Indian driver that couldn't drive. And when I got to Fox Studios, 20th Century Fox, I remember laying on the bench in front of the casting director, just laying there on my last call. And they waited hours for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ted called me up and said, congratulations, we're going to go with you. And then Dan Aykroyd, Universal, Judy Belushi all sued, and the movie got shut down. So it never got made. John Peters, Barbra Streisand's ex-husband, he got it funded. They got 18 million bucks from a logging company in New Zealand, and Michael Chiklis got the role. They said they don't want to go with a guy that looks like Belushi. We want to go to different. We want to go totally opposite. And the movie bombed. And I ended up doing the job. I ended up doing Belushi in a show called Legends in Concert for 6 years in Vegas. I did it. I became like the #1 impersonator. And if you read the reviews and articles, I had my antics were bigger and better. My cartwheels were better. I did cartwheels, roundoffs, aerials, back handsprings in a show. I did 26 a night, 2 shows a night for 6 years. Doing it. You should see my calves from that freaking show.
Oh,
Like I pop my calves instead of pop my arms. I got them on my legs. So I really, really wanted to do it, and I didn't get it because of that getting shut down, and then different directors, different producers.
yeah.
And
That's
Ted, my buddy Ted, couldn't help me. Ted Fields, and Ted Swanson were doing the first one. Ted Fields did the hot dog, hamburger movies, the ski movies, all of
he did
that.
the hot dog movie.
Yeah, the hot dog movie was Ted Fields.
Oh,
Those guys. So they were partners, and Ted Swanson passed away recently. He owned a cigar business in Tampa, Florida, by the way. So
really?
Ted did. And Ted was the producer that didn't live in LA. He moved to Bend, Oregon, then he moved to Tampa, Florida. But so, I had luck, a lot of luck, and I lost a lot,
Yeah.
partially because he couldn't spell my name, and the second time because the movie got shut down. But I don't mean to, Judy Belushi wanted to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
I flew to New York City, and we went to the Carlisle Hotel. We were in the lounge, and the guy's playing the piano, and I saw these CNN reporters, and it was pretty cool. And she couldn't stop hugging me. She just held me because I really reminded her. If you ever saw the Blues Brothers pictures on my Facebook, I look like what I'm all made up. So she just wouldn't let go, kept holding me, and I was there for hours with her. They kept calling Dan Aykroyd, Dan, we got to get Dan down here. You got to get Dan. You guys got to do a show together. So they gave me a handwritten license to do John Belushi forever. So every time I wanted to impersonate her husband, as a Blues Brother, not as whatever, I could do the Blues Brothers signed by her that I still have in a file. Pretty cool.
Wow, unbelievable. Listen, did you party with that guy Don Simpson, that big a producer in Hollywood in the 90s?
No.
He was with Jerry Bruckheimer.
No, I know him, but I wasn't much of a partier. I partied from 1980 to 83, and then I quit on St. Patrick's. 1983, I quit cold turkey. I got into drugs for a little bit, everybody did back then, and I kind of got myself screwed up. And if it wasn't my doctor and his dog, I'd probably be dead today. I'd be taking a dirt nap somewhere.
I guess the Lord is with you, Michael, because he still loves you and he didn't want you to go down because you're such a sweetheart. That's why.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
How's
Appreciate
that? There you go.
I'll send you 20 after the show. I appreciate it.
All right,
that.
making sure. Listen. So from 80 to 83, you were a party animal. What made you say, you know what, enough's enough, I'm out?
Driving, well, what happened was I had a girlfriend that was really into it. Instead of snorting, we started smoking it. Back then it was called base, free base. Then it was like not crack yet. It was called rock cocaine. Mm-hmm. So we smoked it. And one day, this Elvis Presley impersonator by the name of Pete Wilcox is like the world's greatest. He was in Legends. He used to work for Disney and Knott's Berry. Anyways, Pete's wife and I went to the house and we were smoking and getting crazy. And he came over one night about 4 in the morning. I'm supposed to be at a wedding in Phoenix. That's the best man. And at 4 in the morning, I'm hiring a kite. He came over, slapped me, slapped her, took all the pipes, smashed them in my fireplace, kicked everybody out, and took me to Burbank Airport and put me on the first flight to Phoenix. When I got to Phoenix, I couldn't make the wedding. I was passed out, went home at my parents' house, and I crashed. I got up and I went to the reception, and my best friend, Dave Galuso, who used to be with Cheap Trick, he was early before they hit it. Right. It was his wedding. I introduced the two of them, and they wouldn't even let me in the reception because I was such a mess. And that's when I said, I got to quit. Came home, smelt the 151 Puerto Rican rum and the ether, whatever we were using. I smelt it, went down to the head shop, got a pipe, started smoking. I found a little bit of a rock, I smoked for like 9 straight days. I had a couple of oranges, maybe an apple, put foil on all my windows. I thought they were coming up through the ground to get me. And then I had spasms around the heart really bad. And I had a Doberman, and my doctor friend, his dog would come over every day and visit my dog. And he was barking and scratching. So the doctor came up off the street, came into the house and saw me and said, shit. And he carried me to a hospital in LA. And I was in there for a long time. Didn't have insurance, and he snuck me out. And that's when I quit cold turkey. I came home and my family packed the whole house up. And I went to Phoenix for a while just to relax and get my life back. And then I moved back out with my doctor. He got me back on track, and then I started up again. But that's when I quit cold turkey. That way, but it really wasn't. The hospital helped.
Right. So you currently live in Arizona right now. Within how many years you've been living in Arizona as of right now? Like
this time, 4 years, because I was in prison for 8.
Oh, okay. So you were in prison in the 2000s? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I came back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then I got in trouble, and then I had to go bye-bye, and now I'm back.
Oh, okay.
I was in LA from 1980 to 2000, 1999, 2000. Then I went back for a couple of years later. And then I got smacked hard, and, I was on vacation. It was funny that I went to a place called Carrabba's, and I knew a manager, really liked him a lot when I got out. And I was allowed to finally go to restaurants and stuff. So I went to dinner and see my buddy. And he was a real heavy guy. Now he was skinny. I couldn't even recognize him. And he gives me a huge hug, and he says, man, how was Australia and Bora Bora? I said, huh? Because, yeah, I heard you were on vacation shooting a TV show down there. My family and my friends here didn't want anybody to know. So I told them I was on vacation for 8 years. It was cool. But, I made the front page of I made the front page of the Wall Street Journal because of what we did. Not a nice thing to talk about, but it's over with. I learned my lesson, and, now it's all about giving back and being nice and caring. And I've even been called the guardian angel, which is another story altogether. But
you have a daughter, right?
2 daughters.
2 daughters. How old are they?
31 and 21. Well,
So
she's going to turn 21 next month.
So the 31-year-old experienced the fact that the mom has to say, well, daddy's in jail. Is that what?
Oh, they both. Well, the little one was 8 when I went in.
Right.
Well, they both know. Mom's told them. The little one couldn't come. The mother didn't want my daughter to see me like that. My big one came to visit me a couple times. My oldest. She lives in Tahoe. The other one's in Kentucky. She's senior at the University of Kentucky right now.
Is she watching my man John Calipari, baby? Because that's my coach.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, my daughter dated one of the white basketball players for a while. They just broke up. He was 6'6", and she's only 5'4", 5'5", so it was crazy.
Oh,
But my daughter had a full scholarship for academic first and then track field. She could hurdle like nobody else business. Can you run like that? You're only, and she would go, there was something in her technique, not necessarily running, but she could fly over those hurdles. So she went all state, all county, everything in Chicago, Illinois, and then she went to Kentucky.
so while you were in prison, like they would write you letters, they would call you, they were still there for you, right, Michael?
Yeah, they were there for me. They couldn't call me. I'd call them.
Right.
But I would get letters, and my little girl would give me pictures and draw, art. She liked to draw. They would send me cutouts and stuff like that. And every now and then, my little kids would send me $40 on my books or $20. Here, Dad, go buy something, because we had a commissary. You could buy candy bars. You could buy. Everybody was buying ramen soup and sausages. Summer sausage links. Everybody was buying. It was crazy, but I missed them. I called every Sunday. Every Sunday, called everybody.
Did you have tears? Did you have tears going to bed when they would write you letters, these hearts and pictures and all that? Did you cry?
Yeah. At nighttime, you'd have tears and, cover your head in a pillow because you don't want other grown men to see it. But you could hear grown men sniffling and crying. Most of the time, you'd go into the shower, and that's where you guys would lose it. I think I lost it a couple of times. You look, what did I do wrong? I believed in the system. I believed what we were doing. I didn't really know. But the problem that I had was I got involved with some bad people. In the beginning, we were doing it right. It was bringing extra money in. I could make movies, but I got involved with the mob. And they were just friends. I wasn't Ian. I wasn't a hitman, but I helped them and they helped me. And they pushed me really hard to do a couple of these public deals. And that's where we got in trouble because they lied. They said they had, they said they had Sharon Stone and they had Tiger Woods and they had Tony Danza and real big one, the black actor. He's in every freaking movie. He's wonderful.
Denzel?
Huh?
Denzel Washington?
No.
Samuel Jackson?
Samuel Jackson. Right. So we put the press releases out, and when the government saw that the stock was dropping, they made calls. They find out that who's Michael Saquella or Michael Paloma? Who's these guys in Tucson? They didn't know. So I was bamboozled, and I put it out, and I signed the stuff, and I got in trouble. I got caught in a conspiracy. I didn't get the full charge. I got the conspiracies. But I got whacked hard. But there was guys that got 20 years. And there was like 14 people involved in this.
So you've been out since 2001?
16.
2016.
Got out in the spring.
From 2016, let's talk about this right here, all right? All of a sudden, you go to the movie theaters and you see this, right? You actually, did you direct this, El Coyote?
No, I redirected a bunch of scenes we had to reshoot. I directed a lot, but no, I'm the star of that film, and it was in theaters around the country. It wasn't just a local deal. They made it all the way coast to coast.
But when you walk into theaters and you see that, you're like, damn, that accomplishment feels good, right? Think about it. That's hard to do.
You think back about the bunk in the prison, and you're like, I'm back, and this is great. And to see kids, I remember when I was 19 or 20, I'm sure you do, in the life that we had. But when you see groups of kids, oh my God, come here. And you'd go over by the poster and you'd be taking pictures with all these kids, and then other people would see it. Before you know it, you got 40 people all wanting pictures and autographs. I'm going to miss the movie. I want to go see it. I actually missed the opening of the movie one time because I was signing autographs. It's pretty cool to get out again and to sign autographs and to be appreciated. And they don't know the past.
Now, how'd you get this? Did you audition, or this was a straight offer, or was this something like, hey, Michael, we want you?
No, this was, I wrote the first script. It was my project. So when they came to put it together, it was I'm the lead or forget about it. So I kind of I had like the Rocky story. Stallone wanted his Rocky 1. He wouldn't let it go, and he finally got it made for $1 million through United Artists. Same thing with me. This was a nice thing for me because I'm Italian. If we had more money, it would have been a much better picture. But it's a good picture.
How do you get money? Like, what do you do? How do you get investors to say, hey, I got a film? Like, go ahead, pitch it to me. Talk to me. I want to know your trick. I want these other actors to know, how do you do it?
What, do you want me to go back in? What the hell?
Oh, okay. You don't have to tell me that. All right.
No. To do it right, you got to have an offering. It's called a private placement memorandum, a PPM. Or, you got to register everything with the Securities and Exchange Commission so you don't get in trouble. Mm-hmm. It's family and friends that give money that won't hurt you. And if you've got a rich relative, then maybe they'll front some money for you. But in the real world, you know, you got to do a public offering, or you got to do a private placement. You got to be registered. You got to have security brokers with Series 7 licenses to help raise money. You just can't go out and ask for money anymore. You go out and ask for money and you don't make it. I met a lot of producers inside that were doing telephone marketing, bringing in money, that took mom and pop money. And, you know, if you don't make the picture, you go away. So I learned my lesson from them, from myself. And when I got out, the goal is not just to get the money and try to make a film. You have to make the picture. You have to have intent to make the film. You got to make the film. You got to complete the film, and you got to get it out there. You got to give it a chance to make money. If you can't get distribution, you're going to get in trouble. You can't take innocent people's money, you know, whatever. Not innocent. I mean, regular people's money, hardworking people will take their money and try to make it. There's a lot of people in a lot of small towns that make these little piece of crap movies. A lot of them are being done in LA or in Phoenix. So they get a bunch of money, 5, 10, and they go out and shoot a $30, $40, $50,000 picture. And they don't finish it. Or it's terrible because they can't get stars. And so the actors suck because all they want to do is make their movie. So then what happens to those investors that put the 50 grand in? They don't get their money. Pictures are gone. People take off. And so the goal is for actors or wannabes is to make sure you have enough money to complete the picture, make sure you can edit it and you can deliver it. You have to have the effort to show it. Even if it doesn't work out, at least you tried. And in today's world, with all the streaming and with all the cable and everything everywhere, there's no reason why you can't sell a halfway decent picture with no stars in it. In the 80s and the 90s, if you didn't have a name in it, they wouldn't buy it. It was so hard selling independent pictures. Now, the medium now is like anywhere. But all my films, I've done 3 movies in 18 months. All of them, the 2 of them are out. 2 of them make the Dream Run was in theaters, but COVID killed it. We were going to open up from Minnesota to Connecticut, and Connecticut to Florida. We had a bunch of things, but COVID hit and they pulled everything. We were opening on March 27th, and guess when COVID hit? So, but we did play in the Southwest. It did pretty good. You know, it was a test run, and it looked good. So we get ready to open up big, and it fell apart. But I made sure my films got distributed, and that's what it's about. So, you know, it's hard picking up. You can't cold call money. You can't raise money from people you don't know. Right. You have to. Yeah, the only way to get money is for people that you directly know. You can't solicit. You can't do a mailer. You can't run ads. I mean, there's so many people that ran ads that are all in prison. You go back into the 90s and the early 2000s, and you watch these commercials, and they got these mansions and these cars. And my wife and I made all this money. Send us $10, and those guys all got locked up. You can't do that.
Wow.
The laws changed in 2014, and now they can do the GoFundMe and the kickers, whatever. Those are public deals that everybody can go into, and you can do $5, $10. But you can't raise enough money. People go out and they say, oh my God, let's do a startup. Let's do a GoFundMe. And they do it, and they want 30,000, 50,000, and they never reach it. So they don't release the money, so they protect the people that put the money in. But when they do get it, they still can't finish the picture because they're not real producers. Right. Real producers go raise $5 grand and GoFundMe.
So let's talk about this film. All right. What made you, did you write this film, by the way?
I wrote a script, Dream Run, in 2007. I wanted Morgan Freeman, and we were trying to raise like $18 million. We couldn't pull it off. So then we finished El Coyote. We wanted to do a project. So I sat down with a local writer who's really talented, Lisa Houston, and I gave her a bunch of scenes from the old script, and she rewrote it in like a week. And it was beautiful, brilliant. We made some changes to it. And then because of the interest and because of people she knew and people we knew, we were able to raise enough money to go out and make the movie in 112 degrees last summer.
Okay, so now with this film, what inspired you? Like, where did you get this idea? Or you just had it in your head about, you lost, tell us about this film. Like, where did you get this idea?
This film. Okay, baseball, you ball, I played ball, right? But what do we like playing? We like to play golf. I don't know if you do, but I love golf. Mm-hmm. And man, I got it. It got in my blood. Richard Grieco really pulled it out of me because we would sneak off the set. Do you guys need us? And we'd take off and forget about it. We'd go play golf. We played all the great golf courses in Arizona, some in California, some in Nevada. And we played golf everywhere. He wore all the black Nike stuff, and I wore the shorts and the baggy shirts because I was overweight. I was the comedian. He was the Burt Reynolds, and I was the Don Belushi on the golf course. But I liked it. I couldn't beat him. I got so mad. And I wanted to really, learn how to play it. So he helped me a lot. Grieco helped me a lot. And then one day, my ex clam baked me with marijuana. I was on the phone. I didn't know. She gives me a big kiss and blew it in my mouth and got me higher than a kite. And I went out there, and she's driving the damn golf cart on the greens, and everybody's mad at her. So I had to make this long putt, and all of a sudden I could see. I saw the line. I saw the grass bend. I go, wow. And I hit it, and it went 38 feet, boom, right into the cup. And then the rest of it, I kept hitting it. I couldn't believe it. I went from 4-putt Mike to 1-putt. It was amazing. And then I started getting better, and I calmed down. And then I met a couple other guys, and I go, listen, let me teach you. You want to learn something? Do you know how football practices go? I go, yeah, I used to do a little bit of football. And he said, let's go out and do 2-a-days. So we went out, and the guy worked with me for a couple of weeks. So we go out in the morning, we would work on chipping. The afternoon, we work on putting. The next day, we did drivers, and then we did irons. And then after that, he would line up 18 holes of balls. He would put down some par 3 balls, par 4 balls, par 5. And I would play a game, and we would pick courses from all over the world. Cobb Hill in freaking Chicago. We put Torrey Pines, the one up, the real famous one on the water up there by San Francisco. Anyway, Pebble Beach. So I would play these courses on a driving range in my head. And so I really got good. And then Richard Grieco's dad came in, and we went to the Biltmore or the Phoenician in Phoenix. Great courses. And I shot par, maybe 1 under, and I beat him. Couldn't believe it. And after that point, I started shooting in a high 70s, low 80s. So going to the point, I thought I could be a pro golfer. I thought, well, if I can't make the younger guys, I'm getting old enough to be in the senior tour. So I started really practicing. I got invited to do some pro-ams because I'm an actor. So I got to play with everybody. I remember playing with Rich Beam, who won the U.S. Open. I got to play with Bubba Watson. So I'm out there playing, and I want to win. So because of the casinos and the connections that we had because of money, they were able to get me in, I came in 7th on the Camel Classic or something up in Reno, and I got invited to the Reno Tahoe Open, and I want to make the cut. And the night before, I went out with Rich Beam and all those guys, and I got hammered. And I don't drink, but they made me do shots with them. I wanted to be those guys. I wanted to be like the golfers, and I couldn't do it. I had the shakes. I shot like 97 the first day. Then I shot par the second day. And then I didn't make the cut. So that was my claim. I tried the Phoenix Open a couple of times. I tried to make the pre-qualifiers. I could never do it. So I took that idea, and I said, okay, well, what if this guy, average Joe, a guy that could play golf, maybe in high school or maybe college, and he goes out and he wins the pre-qualifier. He actually makes the Open. That could be a good script. That could be my Rocky story. Okay, so, and then I remembered Morgan Freeman in that movie where he played the God. And it was either Heaven Almighty or Bruce Almighty. I don't know which one it was with Jim Carrey. I don't know. But I remember, God, I want him. Then I came with the idea, well, what if it was a ghost? Oh, so then I came with the idea that I walked by a picture of him. He's really dead, but I think he's alive, and he trains me how to play. So that's how it came up. With his idea of playing God, and with my golf, I came up with the basic idea of Dream Run.
It's a great story because I saw the trailer. I think the little girl is so adorable because she reminds me of my niece. Like, how did you find this little girl?
She's very talented. I knew her mom, but I directed a short I directed a documentary for some retired CIA agents on the true life story of Brian Terry, the border agent that was murdered. Uh-huh. In these offices, I met the little girl, Alexa's mom. I knew her first. So when they came into the audition, she was the last girl to audition. I met the mom. Oh my God. And she killed it. She came in and she read it like a pro, like a seasoned actress. Right. I had to give it to her. I gave her the role on the spot, or the director and I gave her the role on the spot because I was at the audition.
Well, how many girls auditioned for that part?
28 to 30, okay. But there was probably 100 submissions.
Right.
Even from LA, I didn't, but we liked this girl. She was local. She killed it. Their family had been honing her and training her and getting her ready to be an actress. But I want to change the subject just for 1 second.
Go ahead.
On the 22nd, she's having a heart operation. Her chest is caving into her heart. So that little girl.
This 22nd?
Yeah, Alexis has got a major surgery this Thursday.
Oh my!
So everybody's praying for her. Everybody on Facebook, we're all hoping that everything goes great for her, and she's going to pull through it, and she's going to be there for the opening on the 10th. Yeah, poor little kid.
Gosh.
But she killed it. Not only that, the personality. I know, terrible. When you see her, when she's chewing frickin' potato chips and I'm trying to frickin' putt, and I can't make the putt because the kid's making too much, I thought, come on, you're killing me over here, stop. And then I get ready to putt, she starts blowing bubbles from a bubble gum. It's like, it's the cutest frickin' scene. She rides with me. I let her drive the cart. She almost kills me on the cart. It's not. But she's trying to teach me how to dance on a golf course. She's going to be a big star, that kid. Big star.
Wow. I just, listen, if she's watching, I'm sending prayers to you. Hope everything goes well. Oh, man, that hurts. And how old is she right now?
She's 11 now. She was 10 when she did that.
And, you know, Michael, in when I saw the trailer, you actually... You had to be a shitty golfer. You had to play it like you suck. You know what I'm saying? Right? In the beginning, you're like, because the storyline is it's 15 years later, you start again, right? Is that what the storyline is about?
The storyline is my family, my wife and my 2 children are killed in a car crash on New Year's Eve after the wife told me to follow my dreams. We have enough money saved up. Go out, be a pro golfer, write a book. Just do it. Follow your dreams. Come on, man. You've always... My character, I was a great golfer. I quit golf. To raise a family. But then I got so into business that I didn't pay attention to my family. I played some golf and won local tournaments, amateur stuff. But so when they tell me, do your dream, they leave, they get killed. So I could never. So then I end up moving to Arizona. 15 years later, I'm a bum. I haven't shaved in weeks. My stomach's out to here. You know, I sit outside of my trailer. I listen to golf all day long. I smoke cigars. And the little Lexi comes up on her scooter every morning. Hi, Mr. Bona, how you doing? Why do you keep coming to me? Why do you keep asking me stupid questions? You know, and then she sneaks into the house and she finds a little golf ball that my daughter's initials she signed for Daddy for Christmas that I opened a year later after they passed. And she's holding the ball and I freak out on her. And then I find out that her parents died in a car crash. And then it automatically we're magnets. And she and I get together and she's like my adopted daughter, and she's so cute. And she introduces me to a waitress when we go out for apple pie. And then the waitress becomes a love interest. And then the ghost did happen. We put him in. It was played by an actor, Greg Lutz, who's been in a lot of TV shows. Like I saw him on Roswell. I saw him in there. He plays a government official in that. Greg does the ghost. He's decent looking older man, great shape. So he was a golfer. My wife channels herself through him, the dead wife, and he tries to rouse me up out of bed. Come on, get up, take a shave, let's go. You're playing golf. And I had to play terrible. And I did, you know, and I had a sciatic problem when we were filming it. So it was easy because every time I would say,
Yeah.
But, you know, one point in my life, I was almost like a 2 handicap, you know, at one point. But now I was so overweight, I couldn't follow through. I couldn't do the great swings. But, you know, you'll see some great stuff out of me. But this guy, Craig Matthews, an ex-pro college golfer, PGA guy that we brought in, an actor and a singer, he came and he killed it. I mean, when you watch this guy swing, I look like a freaking imbecile. I look like a 7th grader compared to him. So real golfers are going to say, wait a minute, you beat him? How did you beat him in the pre-qualifier? Got to beat this guy. I got to beat Grieco first because Grieco's the course pro. If I can beat him, I can go to pre-qualifier. But when I get there, this guy's tall, skinny, no fat, you know, and he hits the ball a ton, 310, 320. You know, I'm going 240, 260. Back then, I could go almost 3. Now I can't. But, you know, my swing with him got better because he was a better player. But, you know, so that's what it was about. And, terrible golfer to a much better golfer.
So tell me your relationship with Richard Grieco. I mean, listen, when I was a kid, all the girls would go crazy for this guy. How'd you guys
Richard Grieco's from Watertown, upstate. We're both from upstate New York. He went to Syracuse. Oh, okay. Richard and I met on the movie Forget About It.
Okay.
And I knew him. I mean, I bumped into him a couple times with Charlie Sheen or whoever I was hanging out with back in the early 90s. There was a poker game every Monday night at James Wilder's dad. James Wilder was on Melrose Place, Models Inc. He was the drug dealer that got killed on the boat in Models and Melrose Place. So James, the father, would have these games. I met, even Stallone came by because he was friends with Kirstie Alley. James was dating Kirstie Alley. I think Richard came by a couple times. When we really clicked on Forget About It. So he came in, and his girlfriend at the time, great actress, said, hang out with Michael. You need a good friend. And so we became really close to where he even stayed in my guest house for 6 months after. And we were developing a movie called See You Next Tuesday, which became Whack the Dawn, which we're still doing. Going to be directed by William Deere, who directed Angels in the Outfield. Harry and the Hendersons, and If Looks Could Kill with Richard Grieco. Richard introduced me to this great director, and we're putting projects together. But then even after the movie, we played golf, we did things, and Richard directed 2 of my music videos. I don't know if you know, but I'm a blues guy. I'm a blues singer, not a player, a blues singer. I play a little piano, but I'm a blues guy, and we put out Sugar Daddy and Cell Block Number 9, and Richard directed them, and he edited them, and they got thousands and thousands of views. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to redo Sugar Daddy with a real famous rapper, and I don't know what his name is. And we're going to Vegas to relay down our voices. And we took that Sugar Daddy song and we updated it to a real cool dance, rap, blues thing. And we're going to redo that real soon. So, and so, he's still in my life. He calls me every day. I had a little heart problem a while back. I had an operation in 2005, and I had some stress a few weeks back. And he calls me every day. He texts me today, "Are you okay, buddy?" He still loves me like a brother. We were close. My dad had the hots for my mom had the hots for him. My dad passed, his mom passed. We put the 2 together, but my mom had just met somebody else. Otherwise, Richard Grieco's dad would be married to my mom. It'd be crazy.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, holy shit. It's great to have friends like that. Forget about the fame, forget about famous. It's just being there for each other as, great people. It's really hard to find that in Hollywood, especially, you don't know who's authentic with you. You don't know who's there for you. And, when there's times, like you said, with your health condition, he was still there for you, right?
He was great. Another good friend was Burt Reynolds, who we never talked about that story yet, but Burt would show up at 10 o'clock at night banging on my door in Arizona, and he lives in Beverly Hills or Florida. And he would show up, "Hey, let me in." And we let him in. His son Quentin would come. Quentin had the hots for my daughter Samantha. And we would go golfing, and Burt and I would be in the car. And I'd play. Burt wouldn't play because of his back, but Quentin was a great golfer. And Sammy, my daughter Samantha, would be with him in the car. "Dad, I don't like this guy." He kept texting her and calling her, and they would come all the time. And it was great. Burt and I would go out, and as far as friendships, we'd go get fast food real quick. Let's say we went to a Wendy's one time. And we go, "Oh, my God, it's Burt Reynolds." They go crazy. And he's smacking me like I'm Dom DeLuise. It was great. It was like we were in the Cannonball Run again. It was amazing. And everywhere we would go, I constantly got smacked. I let him smack me because he was like the Dom. Dom was sick. He was in a wheelchair. So I became his sidekick. When I went to Beverly Hills, I hung out with him and his girlfriend. She had bought Paul Anka's house. They put $5 million into the house. I go hang out with them up there. I lent the money. I never got paid back. We used to go eat at the Beverly Hills Hilton, the hotel there. We'd go in the back in the garden room. We'd sit there in the corner with all the what's his face was down doing a movie. Clint Eastwood was there. Burt and Clint. They taught. There's been a lot of cool people.
Michael,
but,
you got some Hollywood stories, man. I mean, people are enjoying this. They're like, holy shit.
And Burt Young, Paulie. Hey, Paulie from Rocky.
Yeah.
Paulie and I got close because he did my movie. Directed a horror film called Blue Lake Butcher, and Burt and I hung out. He was fun. He was a great guy. He played my uncle in the movie, and we hooked up, and we'd go to Louise's Trattoria in Studio City when I'd go back over and hang out. And we'd go up to his apartment. Now he's back in New York now. We'd go to his apartment, and it was filled with paintings. I mean, paintings everywhere, and the bodies were good, but the heads just like what? You look at the picture, and you're like, "Don't you love?" "Oh yeah, I love it." And you'd be like, "Huh?" Yeah, but he had so many paintings. He was a great guy. Loved to eat, And I was sitting with him at the Louise Trattoria on the balcony. It was at the Ventura Boulevard and Laurel Canyon. We were outside, and the phone rings. He goes, "Michael, it's Sly. Let me take the call." So he's arguing with Stallone, screaming, "Rock, I need $1 million. I'm not taking 750. I'm not doing it." It was the one that came out in 08. Rock fought for the last time.
Yeah.
And they're arguing with each other. It was crazy, Then he comes down and visits them. And I'm like, oh my God, and I'm sitting with these guys. This is incredible. But I mean, I don't know him. I'm not a friend. They shook his hand. They did the talk, and then he left.
Right.
And I don't know if $1 million or not, but he was great at both of them were great in it, You see those dark eyes, and Stallone was cool, and he was ripped. I mean, ripped. Every freaking vein was sticking out of him. And then, Burt and I stayed in touch, called me up. The girl at the time loved him. He kept calling her baby doll, and you better marry her. I'm going to marry her, But Richard was the best friend, more, down to earth. We drank a lot of coffee. We stayed up late a lot. Burt was great. I want to tell you a story if I got. Can I tell you something about Burt?
You got plenty of time, my man. Give it to me. Let's go. These are Hollywood stories, which I love.
My phone's blowing up too.
Oh yeah, what they saying?
Well, I don't know. I don't have my glasses on, but they're talking about the show.
Well, put on your glasses real quick. See what they're saying, because I can't. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I mean, as long as I'm live with you, that's all I care about.
Why are you smoking cigars? I didn't know you smoked cigars. Can you can you talk after the show? I got girls. I don't even know who they are. They're crazy. No, I had a girl. And
Michael.
Stalking me.
So tell me the story. Go ahead. What's the other story you want to tell me? Go ahead. Open up.
Back to one of your very first questions. You asked me what really got me going in the business.
Uh-huh.
I told you about the theater and the girls and the leotards and all that. But what really happened, we were on a family vacation. And we were in California. My dad wanted to go to La Jolla. He loves La Jolla. He had to go. He had to see somebody he knew. So I go to Florida. I mean, we were going to Florida. We ended up in California. After the Hollywood thing, we go down to La Jolla. You can't get to the beach. Everything's blocked off.
That's San Diego, right?
San Diego area. It's north of San Diego.
Right.
North San Diego. So we're down there, and they got trucks and trailers and motorhomes everywhere. So what's going on? And one of the guards or whatever said, hey, they're making a movie. Oh, yeah, what are they making? Well, they're shooting a movie called Lucky Lady with Burt Reynolds, Liza Minnelli, and Gene Hackman. And I'm 15 and a half, and I'm like, ooh. I saw Deliverance, and I saw another movie, I think, called Hustle with Burt. But Burt wasn't huge yet till the Bennett. I mean, he was big, but he was big. He was getting huge. He was blowing up, really blowing up. So he was signing on. He was going to his trailer or whatever, and he was signing autographs. And I happened to get there, and security wasn't like it is today. It was kind of easy. When I was little, I got right in. And he goes, you want an autograph? I said, no. So, well, I go, can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah. I said, I didn't say I want to be an actor. I said, I want to be famous, or I want to be a star, something like that. And he goes, well, kid, all you got to do is reach for the stars and you'll make it. I'm like, huh? I'm looking up stars. What the hell are you talking about? I'm a kid. I don't know how. I don't even have a rocket. How the hell am I? I didn't get it because I'm a kid, and I'm starstruck. And then he goes, no. You've got to harness a feeling. And I'm thinking, harness. I know I've heard the harness before that goes around the horse. And I'm thinking, no, I better keep my mouth shut before I. And he goes, no. There's something out there that you really want to do. Is there anything that you like? Are you in love with anybody? What is there a great feeling? I go, yeah. I'm getting my driver's license. I just got my permit. He goes, that feeling. How bad do you want your license? I want it really bad. I want to drive. He goes, well, take that feeling and harness it. Then I got it. Hold that feeling and use it every time you go out for an audition, or as you want to go, or as you're talking to people, as you get older, and as you go to bigger schools, and you take acting classes. Always keep that inside your belly. And you'll make it. And never quit, kid. And they took off. So that started. And as he left, I said, Mr. Reynolds, I'm going to work with you someday. Smart ass New York kid, Said, I'm going to work with you someday. Yeah, kid, whatever. And then 11 years later, the producer Ted Swanson, that we were talking about, the Rocky Caddyshack, Lucky Lady. Anyway, so Ted and I are doing a football movie called Second Chance. And we're trying to raise additional money. And I go, well, I got a rich uncle in New York and Buffalo. He owns Atlas Van Line's big moving company like Mayflower. Let's go see him. Because, yeah, but we'll stop in Florida. I think I can get us money out of Florida. We're going to go meet Burt Reynolds. I go, we are? He goes, yeah. They're filming a movie called Stick. So I go down there. We go to the offices. I meet Candice Bergen, and she's freaking beautiful. Candy Bergen, man. I tell her a joke. I said, Candy, you know what? Miss Bergen, can I tell you a joke? She goes, yeah. I said, if you married Michael Caine, your name would be Candy Cane, and she freaking laughed. Anyway, I met Charles Durning, wouldn't stop talking, followed me everywhere. I love Charles Durning. I met him too before I ended up working with him. And then I see Burt coming in. Here comes the white helicopter. He comes in. He gets out. Bodyguard, the ex-trooper from Georgia, the big 6'6" black guy, is his main bodyguard. Other bodyguards, the entourage. I thought it was Elvis Presley. He had the white clothes on. He goes into the hotel. They go up. Dar Robinson, the famous stunt guy that died in a motorcycle accident up around Mulholland. He was the main stunt guy. They're doing this big crash out the window. They shoot Burt. Burt stays, watches the high fall, comes out 14 stories, lands into a bag. Burt comes out, jumps in a helicopter. He's gone. I tell Ted, I want to meet Burt. You brought me in to meet Burt. We're going to meet him. We're going to do a rap party tonight. They're still filming tomorrow, but Burt's done. So we go to a rap party, and where's Burt? I'm bugging this guy. So Burt finally comes in. Everybody's bugging him. So towards the end of the night, Ted introduced me to him. And I said, remember me? I'm the kid from San Diego. And he goes, huh? He didn't remember me. But they were passing the bottle of sangria, something around. He took a quick sip. I took a sip right from him. And I said, oh, my God, this is great. Then he left, and we went to Buffalo, and we couldn't get any money. And I told him again, I go, we're going to work together someday and you're going to remember who I am. So on Forget About It, we're sitting under these orange trees at the trailer park in Mesa, Arizona. And we're talking. It's our second or third day in the film. And he goes, you know what? He goes, I thought you were going to be some hack of an actor. You're really good. I really like you. You're doing a great job. You know, and we start talking. And then I bring up the story about San Diego, La Jolla. I bring up the bottle of booze. And he kind of remembered. He made me feel good. Yeah, I do recall. And we talked. But then we got close. We became really good friends. So then I took Burt by himself with me in my smaller jet, and we flew to Minneapolis. And he had just worked with, this is done now. Forget About So With. We're friends. We fly to Minneapolis to see the Vikings game and hang out with Red McComb. Red McComb used to own the Vikings. And Red McComb was an extra or had a small part in the movie, The Longest. So we go to Minnesota and we hang out with Red McComb because Red McComb was an actor, a small part in The Longest Yard, a remake with Adam Sandler and Chris Rock. And so Burt and I go, and of course, Joe Buck, and Troy Aikman's there. Troy Aikman remembers me because when we were filming Forget About It on the tarmac, he's waiting for a jet. He was at Steve Young had a golf tournament out in Arizona. So I meet Troy Aikman, and Troy Aikman, somebody throws him a football, and he tells me, go along. So I'm catching bombs from freaking Troy Aikman on set with my high heels on because I wanted to be as tall as Grieco, but I wasn't. So I'm out running on the tarmac, and I'm catching all these passes from Aikman. So Aikman remembers me. He goes, you know, my wife's crazy about Richard Grieco. She's always been in love with that guy. I don't know what he's got. So he's complaining, hey, you and Burt got to come on the show. So they brought us on the show, and it was pregame, and we got on the show, and they had us on a panel with a bunch of people. And I remember how much fun it was. Burt and I were standing up behind the guys, and I got to speak. I got to talk, but Burt cut me off a lot. And then they asked me questions. How'd you guys meet? How you become friends? And then out of nowhere, Burt tells a story about me as a kid and Florida and the whole thing. He remembered it all. And he said it on national TV. Oh, what a great experience.
Let me ask you this. Burt Reynolds, he went to Florida State. Did he play baseball for them?
He was a quarterback.
Oh, he played football.
Yeah, he played football. He was a quarterback. That's why we kept going.
Yeah, and he was also tight. I think he roomed with the guy that does Game Day. The guy that with the pencil, the older guy on ESPN.
He was. So Burt got hit by a tractor trailer, and that's what killed his football career. I don't know if he broke his back. And that's why he was always in pain his whole life.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of things I know that I'm never going to talk about. We had a lot of conversations, you know. Airplane rides to Florida, airplane rides to Minnesota, places we went, things we did, you know, hanging out, having dinner at my house. I cooked dinner for him and Durning and Raquel and Robert Loggia. Robert Loggia, you kidding me? Freaking big on the piano with Tom Hanks. I got to work with him.
Yeah, but I love him in Scarface, too. Are you kidding me, Montana? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Anyways, but I was hanging out with the old guys, but it was a blast.
Yeah. You know, so speaking of cooking, right? I mean, listen, this other film that's coming out, you and Antonio Sabato Jr., right? He comes to your house. You guys are cooking.
Yeah. Actually, that was the front of the cabins we were staying at. The movie's called Carolina's Calling.
Uh-huh.
And it's a comedy with an alien twist. It was I wrote the story. It was written by Dawn Avizio. She wrote for some movie stuff in a company in LA for a while. She lives out here. Got together. She wrote an incredible script. Everybody loved it. We had to make it. So Antonio Sabato Jr. and I play scientists, engineers trying to develop continuous energy. Mm-hmm. And if we can pull it off, there won't be no more need for fossil fuel. You know what I mean? It'll run electric cars. One little box, like it's called the Radiotron, but it was like the Tesseract in the Avengers. That little thing right there could run 10,000 square foot home. Something the size of a Volkswagen could run 50,000 homes. So we're developing it, and my character, I can't wait. He's stuck in traffic. I try it 5 years, you know, and I blow myself up, and I kill everybody in the lab. 5 years later, he's in a new lab, and he finally gets it with some metal that comes in from Florida, you know, and the whole time he keeps hearing a voice telling him to come to South Carolina, come to Carolina. He sees billboards, magazines, newspaper articles. So when it finally gets the thing to work, and they're all excited, he takes it to a convention trying to raise money with all these oil tycoons and energy tycoons, and nobody wants to give him any money because they'll put him out of business. big energy companies, California, Arizona, New York, they will be out of business. So forget an oil company, forget Mobil, Exxon, BP, they won't be around. So they shoot him down, and then he sells everything, packs up, and moves to Carolina. When he gets to Carolina, his daughter immediately falls in love with a young actor in the movie played by Jacob Hopkins. Jacob's on the Goldbergs, and he's the voice of 2 cartoon characters for Disney. He's blowing up. They're trying to make him the next Leonardo DiCaprio. Good-looking kid, blonde hair, blue eyes, sandy blonde. And then my character, I'm dead. Sorry, his character Antonio meets a lady played by Stacey Dash from Clueless and Mo Money, and she's an incredible actress.
Wait, Stacey, is that the black girl?
Yeah,
Stacey Dash. She's awesome. Beautiful. Yeah, awesome. She's good. Yeah,
and her crying scene, man, we all cried. So they fall in love, and he takes a drive one day, and he sees this barn, this vision he's been having with the call they've been calling him. So when he goes to open up this little shack door, a guy comes out. How you doing, Martin? Huh? We've been waiting for you. Huh? How do you know my name? Grabs him, takes him into this big barn. There's crap everywhere. Alien parts, all kinds of crap. He goes, hey, Bob, come on out. So Bob comes out. Here's an 8-foot tall. You love him, like the guy on the poster right there. That alien comes out. He's 8 foot. And he goes, Martin, how you doing, Martin Haas? You want a beer? Because he loves drinking beer. And he goes, Mr. Haas, you can spell my name forward and backward, B-O-B. Can't get it wrong, backwards, boy. And he want a beer. He's drinking beer. He spills it all over. The guy drinks beer at home movie. You fall in love with this guy. Well, while we were filming the movie, okay, so the power is going to eventually hook up the teleportation circle that's going to send him home. And they ask him how long. He goes, I'll be home in 4 seconds. And he lives 7 light years away. While they're building this whole thing, everybody's falling in love with everybody's barbecues. Bob's funny, he eats hot dogs, and they try to learn how to play frisbee. He can't catch the frisbee. All kinds of crazy stuff happens. Then the nemesis, the ex-husband is a real pain in the neck, redneck, and the only way, and he's threatening Martin, and Stacy's getting punched and beat up. He goes over, but he brings Bob with him, and I'm not going to tell you what happens with Bob and that bad boy.
Yeah.
That's a great ending. And Bob, as soon as Antonio got there, we're Italians. He's from Rome. My parents are from Naples. And we all hooked up. We became cool buddies. We started cooking for the whole crew. So that shot, we're in a kitchen at this cabin. They had like a little lobby up front. And the guy said, yeah, use our kitchen. So it's a real kitchen. So he made an incredible dinner for the whole crew. Not the whole crew, but a lot of people. We made a pasta dish, a meat dish. He made, bourgeois and all kinds of great stuff. He made a meat sauce, and we did. And then he didn't want to stay in a hotel. Once we left the mountain where we were shooting the Carolina stuff, we had to come back to Phoenix for a while. He didn't want to stay in a hotel, so he stayed at my house. So I put him in a guest room, and we were cooking up a storm. He was cooking up stew, cooking freaking whole chickens, hanging out, watching TV, laying on the floor like we were brothers. It was incredible. And ever since then, we've become good friends. And we talk all the time, and we're trying to put stuff together. And he cares about my health.
Wow, that's awesome. Listen, how many girls go crazy for him? Seriously, this guy's a good-looking bastard. I mean, girls go nuts for him, do they?
Yeah. Girls go nuts for him. They like him. I've gotten so many friends and so many views and hits on my social media because of him. And the thing is that he is so in love with his woman that he doesn't look at other women. He doesn't flirt. I mean, it's amazing. He's a total gentleman because he found his soulmate. He loves his soulmate.
Yeah.
He and I, we did a little TikTok piece with one of our actresses. The girl that played his daughter posted it, millions of views. And we're talking about a deer. Hey, you see the deer? What deer? That deer over there. He's like, huh? What? Anyways, it freaking went viral.
Wow.
And then some big boys in New York said, "Now that's what you got to do. You guys got to do a movie like that. That guy's funny. You guys are funny together. You guys are the next, Martin and Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. You guys." So then we worked on a project, and he's developing with the writer that wrote Caroline's Calling with Don. They're trying to come up with these 2 guys that are from Italy, but we speak English. We don't speak Italian.
Oh.
And our parents, our relatives sent us out to Arizona to the mountains to get the recipe back for the dough or for whatever, because they stole it. So the whole thing, and these guys are hysterical trying to get this recipe back. So they're developing that for him and I to do, these 2 clowns that come in from Italy. And we're working on that. Who knows where it's going to go, but he's a great guy. He's a great friend. Checks on me all the time. We talk a lot.
Well, you know what? I for all you viewers out there, I used to have a sweating problem. I told you this story before, right? I don't sweat anymore. When I talking about sweat, like when I'm just hanging out, and I was like, what is wrong with me? This is 3 years ago. I Google how to stop sweat, out of my armpits only. I'm like, yo, Can you imagine? You're going on a date, right, to a girl. Yeah, so how are you? Oh, what is that? You know what I mean? So I Google what stops sweat, and I see Mirror Dry, and Antonio Sabato Jr. is a spokesperson. I was like, shit. I did research. Went to Fifth Avenue, New York City. I said, listen, get rid of my sweat. And it worked. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you so much for that.
I'm gonna tell him.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, it's live. He's going to hear it. But I'll send this mini clip. I'll send it to you and just say, hey, thank you, Antonio. Because I was like, yes. You don't understand how embarrassing that is, man. You know? And I'm on set, you know, book a couple of stuff. And I'm like, holy shit, I got to change the shirt again? I'm like, what the fuck? Thank you, Antonio, for the Mirror Try.
I'm glad I don't have that problem, but I sweat on
my
face.
God, it was annoying. I was like, geez, snap, but now it's gone. Thank you, Lord. So
being a don't sweat, we just put a lot of olive oil out. You know what I mean? Too many garlic and too much the good virgin olive oil.
You know, you Italian men, you know, a man that doesn't spend time with Italian men's not a real man.
Did you see the scene and forget about it where I play that Godfather scene where I talk like that?
No, I didn't. To be honest, don't kill me. I didn't. All right, don't kill me now. All right. Listen, don't go anywhere. It's such a listen. Your stories are amazing, man. You know, when I talked to your publicist, she pitched me. I said, you know, give me somebody. I wanted the kid from Cobra Kai, the lead kid.
Yeah,
because your publicist represents, and you know, all the publicists decline me. How I get my guys, all my guests, through Twitter. That's my ocean, and I go fishing. You know, I got ball players. I got Darryl Strawberry. I got Doc Gooden. I got I got Ned Coletti, the former GM of the Dodgers. I had Andre Berto, the boxer. You know what I mean? Athletes and actors love me. I know their language. That's why.
Well, I love you now.
Well, I don't blame you. You should. But, you know, but listen, don't go anywhere. It's been an honor. Michael Saquella, you are the best. Viewers, his film is coming out November 10th. Okay? Dream Round. Over 60 countries. Think about it.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. It's been a real pleasure. Hey, this is Michael Saquella. Please subscribe to Eddie Mata's YouTube channel. He's the bomb. He's unbelievable. Got to watch his show.